But it's just me today. This is weird. Am I talking to myself? Am I talking with myself? Is how I'm gonna start this one off. So, well, I mean, I kind of just wanted to follow up from what I last posted, the purpose of life. I touched on a few things. I would essentially say I was scratching the surface with a few of the topics I dived into. I mean, because it's such an infinite topic, you can literally take it into any direction. But I guess today or right now, what I've been feeling to express is why? Why have this conversation with other people or with yourself, or why think and choose to view life through the lens that I do? And in saying me, I do, or it's not necessarily like it's this perspective I've developed and I've got the multi-millionaire answer. It's not by any means anything like that. It's just a simple. It's just simply expressing your curiosity, acting out of interest all the time. When you become so sensitive and aware of the present moment, you embrace it more, or you're more appreciative of it. So in doing so, knowing that your time on this or in this conscious experience is finite, you don't let time go to waste. You act on anything impulsively and with full intent, you know. But yeah, tracking back, so why have this conversation? I mean, it's just simply me unwinding my thoughts with myself. Yeah, just a simple process of unwinding, because in unwinding your mind, you know, your mind's the compass to the universe, essentially. Literally, I think about it. I mean, look, the depths of my mind, in unraveling the depths of my mind in front of this lens here, and you know, we are all essentially an extension of the same mind, right? We're the same mind, experiencing different realities, and any insight. So, you know, let's actually break the word insight down, right? Insight, you're insightful. Insight means, I mean, look, insight, so your internal, internal sight, seeing inwards. So seeing inwards within you, your true core self, is where you find all the insight. See, insight isn't this like unlocked information or, you know, these special things that are locked away and you have to strive for it to achieve. It's something you've got access to all the time, here and now. You know, if you're willing to remain sensitive and dive deep within. So it's an interesting thing, really. The more I understand about myself amongst my journey, the chains and the patterns I established within myself, others may or may not be able to relate to it. I don't know, I guess it's on you to kind of refine what's being said, because that's the whole point here. Like, all we're doing is refining information moment by moment. The person you've become today is a result of past decisions and ideas that you've carried up until this very present moment. So we're always constantly absorbing, and we're constantly growing, and we're constantly latching onto things to have that sense of self, you know, sense of security, sense of understanding, all these little things I kind of brushed on before. So it's interesting how you can kind of identify that loop there. So I guess in the previous one, I kind of touched on the idea of identity, self-knowledge, self-understanding, kind of how I said religion, just another way of, characterizing what we already are, what we already embrace, moment by moment, by simply existing. But that wasn't me dismissing the benefits to identification, Obviously, I'm not saying, I think it's quite tough to just tell individuals to unsettle themselves, right? I mean, I can't just go around saying that your belief is bollocks, it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't mean that I think it's all perceptual, right? It's down to the individual. It's a subjective experience we're all having, right? So cling on to what makes you happy or keeps you certain and keeps you secure, whatever wakes you up and allows you to get by all means stick by it. But in attaching to those labels, at times you can become imprisoned by them. So whilst there's individuals that will simply understand that the concepts and labels that they've attached themselves are just simply conceptual, you learn not to take them so seriously. I think that's something I've adopted within myself. In understanding that reality is neutral and, the whole idea that nothing really matters, nothing really cares, we're just existence, we're just sheer existence, So anything else is secondary to that. Like, it's very far-fetched, but, I could be in the most anxious state, or I could be experiencing something really tragic. But as far as I've been presented the very present moment, like as in, I'm talking in a state of, it's this state of like being abundantly present. So you're like super present with yourself, super present with the moment you're currently experiencing. As far as you have that moment, that state is being. That's what you're here for. That's what we're here to experience. And I guess, like I said, anything on top of that, conceptualizing, refining information, it's just a way. It just takes you from that root core, But yeah, if you're aware of this now, so look, why am I saying these things? Is to simply make you aware, because with awareness, you can now take control or understand and utilize things to your benefit. So one thing I'm kind of keen on, and I've expressed this before and I've unwinded it before as well, like this idea of programming your vessel, right? Depends what you're trying to strive for in this life. The easiest way to go about would be to like prime your vessel for success, because everyone wants to live a successful life, right? Even the idea of success is just a simple safety blanket, right? Because we have this idea of what success looks like, and that keeps us grounded, right? We have this idea of success, but the idea of success we have isn't necessarily the truth. Especially in this day and age where this conceptual idea of success has been, fed to you, but again, even that's secondary to the core state of being that we all sometimes find ourselves distracted from. So in saying, this idea of priming your vessel for success, or, altering your reality in a way where you can achieve success, is done in this non-egotistical, non-conceptual way. I think the way to achieve that is to simply look within. I mean, all I am is just a raw slate of consciousness, essentially. That's formless to the point where, further alluding to this idea of infinite nature, I'm formless to the point where I've kind of created or manifested or imagined my human body, you know, this human form, this organ that I'm operating within. But it's almost like your avatar. So I said your avatar before. It's your avatar, so you can characterize it, you can change it, do as you wish with your vessel, you know. And whatever you choose to do with your vessel kind of dictates the storyline you experience on this physical plane. So in terms of branding yourself for success, I think that if you carry out your best interests and you act, you know, wholeheartedly on them, a reality that centers and gravitates towards that is likely to manifest. So following on then, I came into this with the idea of, you know, priming your vessel for success. The perspective I have on success is achieving your divine potential, essentially. So that's immeasurable. You know, you can't think on what this future holds with thoughts you've only experienced from the past and now. So any perspective you have on success is limited, or at least it's conceptual, because enough people have gone through the same thing that would be labelled as success, and you know, you've been able to categorize and generalize, and again, just for us to make further understanding of what actually is going on, we've got this whole ideology of it, this whole idea of success. But I mean, I don't know, if you hear most successful people speak, it comes from a place of curiosity or just passion, you tend to hear. It's not something you strive for. I don't think it's anything you chase, but I guess it's something you kind of uncover in pursuit of acting on your curiosity. So I have this ideology, this kind of idea of this way of living where you brand your existence, basically. So I think, you know, following from the whole idea that reality is infinite and, you know, there's limitless potential, one of the ways you can be is simply the person or the way you are right now, you know, this current state, this current present moment. So in a sense, personally for me, what this is like, I don't even understand myself, to be honest. I'm just always in the process of unwinding it and uncovering it for myself. But I guess I've always wanted a platform or space where I can simply have this exact very conversation. And I guess I want my reality or my existence to center around this, center around my personal brand, because this is what I'm saying, I've branded my existence. So, and this is why I am, you know, I have a huge admiration for the current age of social media we exist in right now, because growing up I used to think social media, you had to be a personality, or, you know, you had to be bait, you had to be famous, some sort of celebrity status, something like that. But now we live in a day and age where individuals have personal brands. So, you know, you can essentially exist virtually through the establishment of a business, and you're generating income from it as well, essentially. So it's a twist, and it's like, I've seen it evolve over the past, in the recent past. So we're looking at maybe 2 years when I started socials, I think, because maybe it was always around, but I wasn't aware of it, and it's fair to say a lot more people are becoming more aware of it as well. And it makes sense because there's also that growing trend of entrepreneurship. Everyone's an entrepreneur now. I think everyone's understanding that they can capitalize off their assets and the skill sets they acquire, and you can market in a sense that will essentially feed into your pool. But then it's funny because this is my rebuttal for individuals that are like quite anxious to the whole social media posting and whatnot. I mean, you don't have to exist as yourself. I've chosen to, but before, initially, I didn't always intend to, if that makes sense. Where I actually started pushing everything on socials when I became a PT, the day I got my PT license. So that was kind of when I started everything, and it was almost my excuse, an excuse to post myself, an excuse to, it was an outlet, you know. It was an outlet. And I think in life you just need this release sometimes, and you can't always fear judgment and live through the lenses of other people, you know. Always thinking about how you're perceived. You can't tie down every single perception that can be had on you. It's impossible, it's infinite. If reality is infinite and there's infinite potential, there's infinite ways to view you in every moment you experience. So there's infinite perspectives, yet you dwell and spend so much energy trying to understand and, you know, gauge an understanding on every possible perception that can be had on you. This is why people are so anxious. You can't tie it down. Likewise with socials, I think all we're merely doing is existing. Some may choose to document it, some may not. But I'm just merely existing and doing it in front of a camera right now for these few minutes or these few seconds and whatnot. It's nothing, and nothing. You know what I mean? I'm only in the here and now. I'm only in this present moment. Anything, any perception that I could have with my thoughts from the past self of what could happen in the future, it's just going to drain me. You know, remaining abundantly present. It's above words at times, you know.